You know, some stories from history are less like a dry textbook and more like a treasure map. And today, we're diving into one of those, following the whispers of one of the ancient world's greatest lost wonders, a place so massive it was said to make even the Great Pyramids look small.
I mean, just think about that for a second. This is from Herodotus, the father of history. He had seen the pyramids with his own two eyes, and he's writing that something else nearby was even more impressive. That single statement kicked off a legend that has fascinated people for thousands of years.
And for most of history, that's all it was. Just a story, a mind-boggling complex with 3,000 rooms that ancient writers talked about, and then, poof, it was completely swallowed by the desert. It became folklore, kind of like a historical ghost story. Well, that was the case, until very, very recently.
Right, so this is where the story takes a massive modern turn. Because in 2015, a team made an announcement that claimed they were about to pull this ancient myth right out of the sand and into the 21st century, all thanks to some cutting-edge tech.
The claim came from Dr. Carmen Bolter, who's known for her documentary series, The Pyramid Code. She said that her team had used a special kind of deep-penetrating satellite radar over a site called Hawara, and what they said they found was, well, to put it mildly, it was almost unbelievable.
So let's just start with the sheer scale of this thing. The scans, according to Bolter, pointed to a huge underground structure that covered a staggering 107 acres.
It's kind of hard to picture what 107 acres even looks like, so try this. We're talking about the size of 81 American football fields, all of it supposedly buried right under their feet.
And it wasn't just some giant empty space. Bolter's team said they could make out 82 enormous, distinct chambers inside this massive complex.
But wait, it gets even crazier. They said this thing wasn't just a single flat layer, it supposedly had two distinct levels, one going down 60 feet, and then a second, even more ancient level, plunging all the way down to 130 feet deep. The details just kept getting wilder. The scans supposedly revealed 4 layers of history, with the deepest ones being the oldest and most mysterious. The rooms were massive, some bigger than Olympic-sized pools. And here's a really weird part. There didn't seem to be any hallways connecting them. The theory was that it was never on the surface at all. It was built to be hidden from day one.
So, what was this thing for? Well, the theories went way beyond a simple tomb. Bolter herself suggested that it might have been, and get ready for this, a kind of orientation center for ancient extraterrestrial visitors to get used to Earth. And just like that, the ancient legend of the labyrinth had officially collided with modern alternative history.
Now, as you can imagine, claims this extraordinary were met with some pretty extraordinary skepticism. And it all started with a big question mark hanging over the technology itself.
Okay, so the technology here is called synthetic aperture radar, or SAR. And to be clear, this tech is amazing. It's led to incredible, totally legitimate discoveries, like unearthing entire lost Roman cities. But seeing deep underground, that's a whole other ballgame. So the claim was that this satellite tech could see hundreds of feet down. But then the experts, the people who actually build and operate this stuff for a living, weighed in. And they said, whoa, hold on. Even the absolute best, most powerful SAR can only see about 30 feet down, and that's in perfect bone-dry conditions. The type of radar used in these satellites, it sees about 4 inches deep, not feet, inches.
And the tech problem was just the tip of the iceberg. Critics started pointing out all these other red flags. For one, the water table in that area is super high, making a huge, ancient underground structure pretty improbable. Some of the people involved were also better known for their work in ufology than archaeology, and these big announcements often seem to coincide with selling books or tickets to conferences. But the biggest issue? None of the data has ever been independently verified or published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal.
So pretty quickly, this stopped being a debate about just one site in Egypt. It tapped into a much bigger, much deeper conflict about who gets to tell the story of our past, who has the authority.
What you really see here are two completely different worldviews clashing. On one side, you have the alternative view, which sees remote sensing and ancient myths as valid evidence, and often views mainstream science as this old, stuffy club that's hiding the truth. And on the other side, you have the academic view, which demands physical, verifiable, peer-reviewed proof before it accepts anything, because for them, that's how you do rigorous science.
This quote really captures the feeling on the scientific side of the fence perfectly. It's a call to trust the process, to trust the careful, methodical work that has been built up over centuries, not just a flashy new theory.
And here you have the complete, counter-argument. It's a statement that comes from a place of real frustration. It's this deep belief that the academic world isn't a filter for finding truth, but actually a barrier designed to protect old ideas from new, challenging ones.
So after all the dust has settled, the big claims, the scientific smackdowns, the culture wars, we're left right back where we started, asking the original question: what's the real story of the labyrinth?
And that's really the stalemate we're in. Is it a wonder of the world hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone with a shovel to prove Herodotus right? Or is it a really compelling story built on wishful thinking and technology that was pushed way beyond what it can actually do? The bottom line is, without a real excavation, it's all just talk.
And that leaves us with a huge question for our time, doesn't it? In an age where a satellite scan can look just as real as a photograph, how are we supposed to figure out what's real and what's not? When a really good digital story clashes with the slow, methodical process of science, how do we separate a lost wonder from a modern myth?